Hello folks, I am finally back with a comparison video between the Sig Sauer MCX Rattler and also the Daniel Defense DDM4 PDW. Both of these firearms are in 300 blackout. They are very good pistols. I have more time on the Rattler because I bought this roughly almost a year ago, and this is really an excellent shooter. So I've been shooting a lot with this firearm. On this one, I have very few rounds on. I'm roughly somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 rounds. So hopefully you can excuse that, even though the comparison of rounds are going to be a little bit different. One of the things that I like about both of them, they're pretty much are compact and they are very good shooters. They're pretty much very accurate. I'm going to show you some differences. I recently was able to put my suppressor on both of these firearms. I started first with the PDW, and this is uber quiet when you're firing this. With this particular firearm, the Rattler, it is also uber quiet, but there are some little bit of differences. As you see with the PDW, this has pretty much like a traditional buffer tube, and it's more geared looking like the AR platform. So it's pretty much an AR just chambered in 300 blackout. With the Rattler, it's a little bit different. It still has some of the qualities of the AR-15 platform, but there are some differences. Like as you see here, this is a folding brace right here, and with the folding brace, you would notice there's no buffer tube. There are actually two springs in there that allow the bolt carrier group to go backwards and forwards, and the spring system allows that to work properly. And with this, it's like I said, it's more of a traditional setup. Okay, folks, sorry about the pause on the camera. I just wanted to get this so you can see it. As you see, this is more of a traditional bolt carrier group. And as you see here, and there's your buffer tube right here. Now, if you look at the system that's on the Rattler, if you see here, there's two springs, and the springs are connected to the bolt carrier group, which is pretty long. I don't want to actually pull that out. I'm trying to wrestle this with the camera. But as you see, there's no buffer tube right in there. So that's basically how it's pretty much set up. And that's your connection. If you're looking inside, that's the connection of how the brace is connected. Okay, both of these firearms are back together. I just wanted to let you guys see, and if you noticed before I put it on pause, both of these firearms, they had their braces extended out. Now, if you notice with the PDW, this brace is pushed in. You have a retractable brace right here, so you can adjust it to various lengths. With this is a folding brace. Now, this folding brace, Carleon Noir is not a fan of this folding brace. He calls it the what they call he calls it the flag brace because this grip portion of the brace right here. The problem with that is it sometimes if you briefly shoulder it, it may move or whatnot, and that way there's not really the contact on your shoulder when you're trying to shoulder it. Now, the thing about it is I don't have a problem with this particular style brace. I don't have that problem at all, but for some people this might be a bone of contention for them. Now, there are probably other attachments for this where a lot of people who SBR this, they'll get something different. It won't be a brace, it would be a stop. So if they SBR it, it's one thing, but I like to keep these particular firearms in the pistol configuration. So I'm pretty sure there are other braces out there that SB Tactical makes. that are a little bit more comfortable for shooters where it won't move. But one advantage that this particular style brace has, it makes the firearm a little flatter. I don't know if it makes it a little bit flatter. So what happens when it's in this flat motion, you can pretty much stow this in a backpack without any issues and won't have any issues. So you're really making a lot more room in your backpack when you have this particular style brace. That's if you can deal with it being a flag brace. On this particular firearm here, the PDW, this is a retractable brace. Now, a lot of people some people complain about this brace because if you're a guy that has a beard, when they shoulder it or you try to get a decent cheek well, sometimes they complain about that it's grabbing their facial hair or whatnot. So there are other variations that you could probably get to remedy that problem. There's also maybe some, they might make other attachments. I'm not sure, but this is, I forget the name of the company, but this is what I think it's Maxim, I'm not sure, but this is their brace system and it comes standard on this PDW. Uh, but however, there is a SBR version where it's just a plain stock, and I haven't heard any complaints about that one. But a lot of people complain about this particular style brace. Sh- One and so I'm going to mention as far as when it comes to shooting, when you shoulder it, I think this is very comfortable. I don't feel much. I'm going to use the word torque as it comes back or recoil. This is the same way for me. Uh, there's another advantage with the Rattler is that when it's folded, you're still able to fire in its smallest configuration. And let me just bring this together, let you see what the difference is in the size. And that's what happens when you fold it. And look how small that can be at that point. Now, like I said, the barrel length on this is about 5 inches. On this barrel length, I believe it's 7.7 inches. So you have a longer barrel, but at the same time, when both of their respective braces are fully extended, they are about the same size, but just on a carry situation, it's a little bit different. With this brace retract, I meant to mention that yes, you can shoot this with the brace retract. So it depends on how you want to shoot it, how you want to adjust it. Some people have complained about this rod here, depending using the safety, it might be interfere. I haven't had that problem. I haven't had any issues whatsoever. Now I'm going to come to the biggest differences between the two, and it has to deal with suppressed. Now, originally, with the Daniel Defense PDW, it comes installed with a red buffer tube. The coil is painted red. Now, the reason for that is that buffer tube is only good for subsonic rounds unsuppressed. I know that sounds weird, but subsonic rounds unsuppressed. If you want to use any other configuration, they give you a second tube. It is a regular, what they call the standard spring that goes inside here. I'm not sure if I said tube or not, but the standard spring that goes inside here, that comes in a separate bag. And you just replace that red uh, coil spring, replace that, put that one in, and that will cover you for subsonic, supersonic rounds, the whole gamut. But just remember, and that's kind of like a weird way they set that up. But just remember if you get one of these, just take that spring out and just replace it because you're probably going to probably going to use it in use subsonics anyway, suppressed or unsuppressed. So just take that one out in the very beginning. Now with this, how it handles the subsonic and supersonic, it's a flip of a switch. In the positive mode, you're going to be able to shoot anything that's unsuppressed. And you could put that in the positive mode for supersonic and subsonic unsuppressed. You might want to use more gas, so you can flip it over to this side, or put what they call it in its normal mode in the minus side. But however, when you put a suppressor on this particular one, you flip it to the minus side, set it, forget it. And that's all you have to do. It seems like an easier way to handle that. Now for shooting impressions. Shooting impressions, like when it's suppressed, shooting suppressed. When this is suppressed, it shoots great. No problems. And one of the things that my friend said, there's no gas being blown back in your face. Positively no gas. With this particular one, you might have some problems with gas blowback. Uh, I've I put the suppressor on. What happened was I left it in the wrong setting, had some gas in my face. I flipped the switch. That was after 10 rounds. Flipped the switch and it worked pretty much good, but still there was gas in the face. The gases were coming in, and if you shoot for extended amount of time, it can get a little bit irritating. But if you're taking like 10 shot strings, it's not going to be too bad. But who wants to deal with that? Maybe it will work out a little better after shooting over time with it suppressed. Maybe it'll change. I'll let you know later on. Even Silencer Co., when they mentioned about the Omega 300, they recommended usually the minimum barrel length is 5 inches. So maybe that could be an issue. I'm not sure. But with the suppressor, it's great on the PDW. And I'm just going to just let you know what I feel about if I can only just have one. Now, if I can only just have one, I've been on. A lot of times when I do the only have one, I always teeter and don't know what to pretty much say. But I would go with the PDW just because of the issues with the gas. There's no issues with the gas, no problems whatsoever. But if you're thinking about compactness, this would be a winner because the way it folds down. But overall, it's going to be the PDW all day long. And that's all I have, folks. I hope you pretty much enjoyed this. Hopefully will be able to film both of these so you can see what I'm talking about, to get a better picture of that. But unfortunately, I'm restricted. So with that, I'm going to say happy shooting, stay safe, #2A.